Imagine this. In winter, parts of the Yellow River can freeze, and when upstream ice begins to break before downstream sections have fully thawed, water and ice can build up behind temporary blockages. River levels rise, pressure increases, and farmland protected by levees faces a greater risk of ice-related flooding. Yet not far away, the Kubuqi Desert has the opposite problem. It is dry, water scarce, and constantly exposed to wind and shifting sand. One place can have too much water at the wrong time, while another has so little that vegetation struggles to survive. The solution was not to treat these as two separate problems, but to connect them. Part of the Yellow River's flow is diverted through canals toward low-lying areas inside the Kubuqi Desert. Instead of trying to irrigate the entire desert, the system uses natural depressions where water can collect more efficiently. Dry basins can become ponds, lakes, and wetlands, while some of the water infiltrates the surrounding soil and increases local moisture. In simple terms, water that could add pressure to the river during a dangerous period is redirected to a landscape that desperately needs it. This project is part of a much broader effort to combat desertification in northern China, associated with the 3 North Shelter Forest Program, often called the Great Green Wall. For decades, different methods have been used to slow the movement of sand. Workers build checkerboard barriers, establish shelter belts, and plant drought-resistant vegetation to protect roads, farmland, and communities. More recently, large solar farms have added another layer to this system. The desert has abundant sunlight, and that energy can support pumping, irrigation, processing, and local infrastructure. But the key lesson is simple. Planting a tree in the desert is not the hardest part. Keeping it alive for years is. Without enough moisture, young plants fail. Without vegetation, exposed sand remains vulnerable to wind erosion. This is why water management became such an important part of the Kubuqi restoration effort. According to published information about the project, experimental water diversion began around 2013 and 2014, with broader implementation from 2015 onward. The diversion is mainly carried out during winter and early spring, when the risk of ice-related flooding on the Yellow River is higher. The intake is located along the Yellow River in Hanginbana, part of Ordos in Inner Mongolia. From there, canals carry water south toward natural depressions in the Kubuqi Desert. The approach is surprisingly practical. Instead of forcing water across a vast desert, engineers use the terrain itself. Low-lying areas act as natural storage zones. Water spreads through these depressions, forming wetlands and increasing moisture in nearby soil. This helps stabilize some areas of sand and creates better conditions for reeds, grasses, and other plants adapted to dry environments. According to published project data, the diversion has contributed to more than 100 square kilometers of water surfaces and wetlands across the desert region, while some directly affected lake and wetland areas have been reported at around 60 square kilometers. The significance is not simply that lakes appeared in the desert. A stable water source can change the conditions around it. Shorelines become more suitable for vegetation. Soil moisture improves. Wind has a harder time moving damp or vegetated surfaces. New wetland habitats can also attract insects, birds, and other wildlife. But water alone does not restore an ecosystem. The surrounding land still needs protection. Reeds, desert grasses, and other suitable plants help hold the soil together and reduce wind speed near the ground. This is the difference between creating a green image and creating a functioning ecosystem. Success is not whether a tree looks healthy today. It is whether the land can remain stable years later with less dependence on constant intervention. In Kubuqi, this ecological work is combined with sand control and solar energy. Checkerboard barriers slow moving sand. Shelter belts protect vulnerable land. Solar panels generate electricity for infrastructure. In suitable locations, Land around or beneath solar installations may also support grazing or vegetation adapted to local conditions. The strength of the model is not any single technology. It is the way several solutions reinforce one another. Once land becomes more stable and water is managed more carefully, some forms of agriculture or grazing can become possible where conditions allow. But this does not mean the desert can simply be turned into farmland. Water remains limited, and the soil still has environmental limits. Crop choice, production scale, and irrigation have to match local conditions. That is an important lesson for any dry region. Restoration must work with the land, not against it. This is also where ecology begins to connect with livelihood. If local people can earn income from restored land without exhausting the water or degrading the soil, they have a stronger reason to protect that landscape over the long term. A restoration project cannot depend forever on spending money to plant more trees. It needs a system in which people can live from the land while keeping the land productive. The benefits of water diversion are not limited to the Kubuqi Desert. North of the Yellow River lies the Hetao Plain, one of the region's major agricultural areas, known for grain, sunflower, and oilseed production. Because the plain lies close to the river, it is also vulnerable to ice-related flooding. When ice restricts the river and water levels rise, the levees protecting farmland can come under greater pressure. Diverting part of the flow toward Kubuqi during sensitive periods can reduce some of that pressure. According to published figures on the project's effects, the diversion has been reported to contribute to reducing roughly 1/3 of the annual ice flood pressure affecting certain sections of the Yellow River levee system in the area. That creates a rare two-sided benefit. To the south, water supports ecological restoration in the desert. To the north, part of the flood pressure on an important farming region is reduced. This is one of the most interesting ideas in the entire project. Good water management is not only about asking where water should go, it is also about asking what problem can be reduced where that water comes from. The human system behind this work is just as important as the engineering. Canals require maintenance. Water levels must be controlled. Vegetation has to be monitored. Pumping stations need operators. Soil and water conditions need to be checked. Farmers, herders, engineers, local authorities, companies, and workers all play a role. Machines can reshape land quickly, but a landscape only changes over the long term when people continue to observe, adjust, and manage it. The wider Yellow River region also shows how water and soil management connect with agriculture. In the Hetao Plain, sunflower is an important crop. The real economic value of a sunflower field is not the beautiful image from above. It is the chain behind it. Farmers prepare the soil, plant seeds, irrigate the crop, and harvest mature sunflowers. The seeds are cleaned, sorted, transported, and processed. At factories, they can be pressed for oil, refined, bottled, packaged, and distributed to stores and supermarkets. This does not mean water diverted into Kubuqi directly produces sunflower oil. The Kubuqi Desert and the Hetao agricultural region have different conditions, but the broader lesson is clear. Stable land, reliable water management, agriculture, processing, transport, and markets are all connected. If the soil fails, or the water system fails, the rest of the economic chain becomes much harder to sustain. And this is why I do not see Kubuqi as a simple story about turning a desert into a forest. That description misses the most important point. Kubuqi is still a desert. The achievement is not that people erased the desert, it is that they learned to manage parts of it differently. Water is directed to places where it can be retained. Vegetation is used where it can survive. Sand control structures protect vulnerable areas. Solar energy takes advantage of a resource the desert has in abundance. Agriculture is developed only where conditions allow. The real lesson is adaptation. That is also why I want to make more videos about places that do not have many natural advantages. Deserts, drought-prone regions, poor soils, areas facing floods, or places where farmers must work under difficult conditions. I believe these landscapes can teach us something important. The goal is not always to defeat nature. Sometimes the better path is to understand its limits and find a way to live with them. I especially hope these stories can give some confidence to people working in sustainable agriculture. Farmers know how quickly a flood, a long drought, or an abnormal season can erase months of work. In those moments, empty encouragement is not enough. What can be useful is seeing how other communities facing difficult conditions conserve water, protect soil, choose crops, and adapt their farming systems. Of course, a method that works in Kubuqi cannot simply be copied somewhere else. Every region has different soil, climate, water resources, and economic conditions. But one solution can still inspire another. A water storage method may lead to a better irrigation idea. A drought-resistant crop may suggest a more suitable variety. A soil protection technique may reduce erosion. A more efficient production system may help improve yields without exhausting the land. That is what I want these videos to explore. Not just giant projects and dramatic before and after images, but practical ideas about how people can live with difficult land. The story of Kubuqi begins with a contradiction. Too much water in one place at the wrong time, and too little water somewhere nearby. By connecting those two problems, people created a different path for part of the Yellow River. That water helped form wetlands, improve soil moisture, and support restoration, while also reducing some pressure on the river during sensitive periods. Kubuqi is still a desert, and that may be the most important part of the story. Success does not always mean changing a landscape into something completely different. Sometimes success means understanding where to intervene, where to step back, and how to use limited resources more wisely. People do not need to defeat the desert. We need to learn how to live with it. And sometimes the smartest solution is not to fight nature with greater force, but to understand its flow and give it a better path. If you are interested in harsh landscapes, sustainable farming, and the ways people are adapting to nature, subscribe to the channel and tell me what region, farming method, or environmental solution you would like me to explore next. A solution developed thousands of kilometers away may one day become a useful idea for the land where we live.